What's going on, everybody? I have Clay back here on the channel, and what did you want to bring us today?
So this time I got first place at just VIP qualifier with Brendan Despia.
Brendan Despia. So you're switching up from Mathemech, I see.
Yeah, I just don't want people to know what I'm playing pretty much.
I gotcha. All right, you want to get into the list?
Definitely. Before we get into the list, it's just pretty much a similar list to John Wilkins and Charlie Fudge. I feel like that's like the correct way to play until we get the new sport pretty much.
Hey, yeah, the new sport's pretty crazy.
Definitely.
All right, let's get into it.
So 3 copies of Albert, 1 copy of Libitum, and 1 copy of Tragedy. That's like standard for the Despias. 1 Lebellion and 1 Serenir. When it comes to side deck patterns, whenever you go second, you tend to side out the Lebellion because it's really not necessary. You can honestly play the deck without Lebellion. It just comes up for like niche applications. 2 copies of Fallen Albaz. 2 is kind of dangerous because like, you know, Runic and Cash, but it's like this card is like really weird where you don't want to open up multiples of it. So 2 is like fine.
Kind of have to.
Yeah. 1 Albion, 1 Kid, 1 Cartesia, and then 1 Mercurier.
Yes, sir. In my opinion, that's one of the most broken cards in the deck.
Definitely. This card just builds like so much advantage. Just being able to send for costs. Like any branded spell trap, you can access it or access with it with the new fusion with Cartesia is just insane. You got to main deck the Game of Puppet Nightmare. I do feel like you have to play like both, like the Dark Magician and the Game of Puppet Nightmare. They're bricks, but they really don't feel like bricks if you get your engine going, pretty much.
And I personally think your opponent's not going to see the Gimmick Puppet come in game 1. It's almost an automatic game 1 win.
Definitely. And it's like it's so hard to play around game 1. 3 copies of Branded Fusion, 3 copies of Branded Opening, 3 copies of Fusion Deployment, and 1 Foolish and 1 Ghost Art. These cards are like, outside of deployment, every other card is like starters, so you have 12 starters in your deck. So I am playing 40 cards instead of like the 42 and 41 they were playing at the YCS, just because I want consistency and longevity when it comes to rounds.
No bricks today? Like you didn't brick that many?
I never really bricked hard once. Like I could always like still play the deck for the most part.
Got you. Well, that's good.
My worst hand was like just going Fusion Deployment, the Cartesia, and then having the hard draw Fallen Albaz to go into a Mirror Jade pretty much.
Awesome. At least it was still playable.
Definitely. And it plays around like Ash Blossoms. 1 Retribution and 1 Expulsion. You have to main deck these for right now, which are 3 crossouts.
I think it's correct.
There's an alternative package where you run the 3 branded or 3 Nadir Servant with the branded and high spirits, and that combo is like very insane unless you play around Ash, unless you like full combo, and unless you play around D-Barrier as well. So definitely look into the Nadir Servant and high spirit package. 1 Callby. Crossout targets, 2 Ash, 1 Imperm.
Only 1 Imperm?
Yeah, only 1 Imperm, because like this deck can naturally play around Imperm usually, and it's unfortunate if you draw the crossout and Imperm, but like mathematically that shouldn't happen like too often.
Gotcha.
And this card I feel like is very like you have to main deck it right now. It's like 3 Super Polymerization.
So what decks is it really good against right now at the moment?
So it's good against Mathemech. It's good against Cash if they go just Rise Hard Pass. Like you're Fallen Albaz, or not your Fallen Albaz, but you're a Luber, just being able to go a Luber and then chain a Super Poly to play around like Cash cards or just insane. You can just suck up the Rise Hard with it.
Other than getting hit by Ash Blossom, what would be the hardest matchup?
This running Dark Hole would be like your hardest matchup. That's the reason we saw deck like the Gamma and the 3 copies of Drone Lockberg right now for it.
Understandable. That deck's pretty scary.
Definitely.
Awesome. On to the side or extra?
We'll do side deck.
Awesome. We'll do side deck first.
The side deck is just really standard. Like there's the only difference between like my side deck is I think Charlie played Nibs. I chose to play Drone Lockberg because it's insane against Mathemech usually.
I think Droll's the correct.
Definitely. Like you have to play Drone Lockberg just to deal with like the Runic Sprite decks, the Cash decks, the Mathemech deck. It's very even the Lifetime Sprite deck needs to like access their cards by searching a lot. 3 Dark Ruler no more. Still want to respect Sprite. In this deck, you're forced to play these no matter what, just because the Naturia Runic deck is like very scary with that beast, so you have to have like at least some consistent outs to that card.
Yeah, Nat Beast is pretty crazy.
3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone for Runic. This should have been a Heartbeat Feather Duster. I feel like if you play this deck correctly, you'll never go into time with it. And then the 1D barrier for Crossout. This is, again, a card that can be, like, honestly cut because people are not really respecting Branded right now.
I haven't played D-Barrier in my side deck in at least 3 tournaments.
I believe it.
Awesome. Let's get on to the extra deck.
Let's see. That Nib token.
Stay getting nibbed.
Yeah, oh, yeah. 2 copies of Mirror Jade. 2 copies of Albion. 2 copies of Lubellion. I feel like you had to play 2 of all of these. 1 Chimera. I'm kind of crazy. I only played the 1 Dragoon because we're playing super quality targets, so it's like the opponent has to guess the correct card to banish, and the extra deck is like kind of tight. 1 Stapelio, 1 Granganol, 1 Rimbrum.
Do you go in that card much?
So you really only like so against cash. Let's say they banish the if they banish your copy of Dragoon, you're able to go Branded Fusion, send Mercurier, and send Fallen Albaz. And Mercurier gets banished, and you trigger Mercurier to search Fallen Albaz, and you can follow the Albaz or Rise Hard away. And if they try to banish the Fallen Albaz, you can negate it with the Rimbrum.
Oh, that's really nice.
And then the Tri-Brigade Fusion, the Cortez, and your 2 super quality targets. And then that's it for the deck for the most part.
Awesome. You got any shout outs or anything at the end of the deck list?
Shout out to my homie Trey,
Hey.
always. Shout out to like my testing partners like Mason, Therese, Ramon, Trey again, and shout out to my girlfriend, and that's it.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, peace out, guys.